What's going on, Aquarius? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're enjoying the last little bit of your birthday season. We got fireworks here, Aquarius. It's just going out big for your birthday bash. But if you had a birthday that just passed or have one that's coming up there, happy birthday, Aquarius. Hope you've been thinking about what you could have improved on from this last year from your solar return, and if you happen to have your sun in Aquarius, and what you plan on doing going forward there, Aquarius. How are you going to grow? Because this is a really big time for Aquarian energy. But before we can get into that, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just the greatest, Aquarius, especially during your birthday season, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Harris has brought you here. We're in for an amazing journey. But let me tell you why I'm so pumped about this one, Aquarius, because it is Celestial News Monthly. I know. Let me take a moment so you can get back in your seat. I know you were just losing it. But Aquarius, before I get into all about the Celestial News Monthly reading, I wanted to let you all know that I am open for private personal readings. So if you are curious, and this is a great energy for it, if you're curious about where the planets are transiting at in your birth chart at this moment, what are some questions or invitations that the universe is trying to present to you, some things to get to ponder there, to really kind of get to where it's not like, I feel astrology is meant to be where it's a fortune teller thing, because you're the fortune teller. You know, this is laying out the story. It's like, okay, you have these elements. What do you want to build with that? How do you want to operate in this energy? What does that look like for you? You know, really brings this sense of a different sense of awareness, a different sense of flows, getting in an energy that would hopefully resonate with you and your true calling there, Aquarius. Or we could even look about the energy that you just picked when you were born. You know, just even looking at the birth chart, how have you been expressing that? How's it been from when you started off to where you are now? You know, when I look at how I expressed my, sun in Cancer in the 12th house, you know, as a kid, it was just an active imagination, but I did kind of get locked in it for a little while. But now it's again this place of like, okay, we're expressing it again. And then I have so much energy of self-expression. It's just like, this is that come up a lot. So, you know, it does get you thinking about this journey a little bit different. You presented yourself, different opportunities even lock up. I think I had a moment where I have Jupiter in the first house, and so I think that big presence kind of paid off there, caught someone's eye, and it was just like, hey, I need an opportunity. And it's just like, well, you know what, I happen to have one for you. It was actually pretty fantastic. Or we can do a tarot card reading there, Aquarius, however this is looking like, but I have the link down in the description box for you if you want to check that out. Also, there is, I have to edit that in my Instagram, but there's a link in the bio as well there. There will be an edited link in the bio as well there, Aquarius, so stay tuned for that. I'll actually get around that today. But with the monthly spread, whenever you happen to move to a new sign, Aquarius, I mean, let me know. But whenever the sun happens to move into a new sign, we're going to talk about where the planets are at and how we can work with the energies. I'm actually going to be adding a different chart thing on top of it now that I mentioned that. But yes, see, this happens when I go off script, Aquarius. I'm just so excited for you. But before we jump into this thing, these readings that I do, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. Let me see if I can find my words. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said there, Aquarius, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Crystals, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Aquarius. Well, actually, oh no, we're great. Okay, so I say, did I put my do not disturb on? Lovely. But Aquarius, I have oracle cards with the zodiac signs that the sun and the planets are in. I'm going to pull an oracle card from this deck for each one of them, and then we'll get some details with the tarot. But before we jump into this thing, Aquarius, these readings that I do, They're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations, okay? Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what I feel is happening here. We'll get into that in a moment. Thank you, guys. And Aquarius, in case of y'all were curious, the decks that I'm working with, which I need to include these two. I've included links to them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested. But also down below some links for some other readers that I like watching Aquarius. Definitely check them out. They're a very intuitive group. I think you'd enjoy them. There's a link for an astrologer as well that I really like watching. And there are some links for some podcasts and some apps that I enjoy working with as well there, Aquarius. And we're about to be in collaboration soon. Get your tools. Get ready. Let's have some questions. But, definitely check that out, Aquarius. This is a treasure trove down in there for you. Now, before we get into this energy, there are a couple of aspects that I wanted to get on your radar. One of them is actually happening this week, Aquarius, and this is one to kind of get some eyes on. But actually, I've been mentioning another one too, but I'll get to that when we get closer to that energy. But you have Chiron that is going to be forming a conjunction with the North Node. Now, Chiron in your chart is that place of where you've been, that wound that needs healing. It never quite gets better, but in learning to tend to that wound, new gifts unlock there. Chiron's shaped like a key when you look at it. It's got this little circle and it looks like there's a K on top of it. And, the whole story behind Chiron is very fascinating. But this right now with Chiron traveling through, both are traveling through Aries, and this is going to be happening on the 19th. Oh, is it this week? It'll be next week. But on the 19th at about 16 degrees, or at 16 degrees and I want to say 45 minutes. I may be making that last part up. But this could be a particularly beneficial time for you, Aquarius, especially, depending on where your placements are at. It's either you've had the North Node that has touched your Aquarian signs, or Chiron has touched Aquarian signs. It's like this weird, we're doing a sweep right now of the zodiac. It's just no one's getting immune from this right now. But the fact that we have both of them converging in Aries, this really kind of asks us to really get back down to the basics. Where has look at our instincts. Have we been maybe acting a bit more timid? Maybe we've kind of lost that self-confidence, haven't been pursuing our passions as of late. Maybe we've lost that will, that determination that we've had, or maybe even the courage. Maybe there's this fear that's just really kind of overcoming, that's wanting to be healed. And that's where I feel like it's with Chiron is kind of healing us there, depending on if you have cardinal placements. And this really affects you if you have, it affects all of us, Aquarius, but it affects you if you have points on cardinal placements, which is Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn. Fire placements, Leo, Sag, and Aries, or air placements, you, Libra, and Gemini. And so check out where you have those points where this stuff has already been happening, but now we're getting in this energy where I feel that the North Node, which is kind of like our guiding light there, is trying to get us to face our fears, to be able to show up in ourselves without feeling afraid or feeling that we have to overcompensate as well, because that's another energy with Aries, another lower expression where because we're not feeling this confidence, we put off this bravado, and we put off this aggressive type of energy going on there, wanting to be domineering, to be the controller, in a sense, to try to get some semblance of control there, Aquarius. So I feel this is just inviting you just to kind of see where you're at on your journey. Where do you fall in those categories? And if you fall somewhere in the middle, if you're feeling really balanced, then that's perfect, because then how do we present this for others? How do we display this? How do we motivate? Because Aries energy is one, I feel, that really gets the blood pumping. It gets the body moving. They're ruled by Mars. Mars is about our energy, our drive, our passion. That will to live. That what just when you get up, where are you just going? So I love Aries energy, but this is, I feel, really beneficial for you, Aquarius, because considering that this is talking about the self, you know, yours is a sign of individuality, which betters the collective because it challenges in sticking to that individuality. Everyone is that level of genius still permeates, you know, because if we all act the same and stay in this herd mentality, then nothing grows. We don't get challenged in a sense. So I feel this can create an opportunity for you to really see where you've been maybe kind of falling in, you know, getting lost in the wave in a sense, you know, maybe where you've kind of been sort of like in this like echo chamber in a sense, and maybe how we go about relationships, maybe about how we're interacting with the world, you know, as far as like just anywhere I feel like we've surrendered your sense of freedom there. And this is, I feel like, an opportunity for you to reclaim that back, Aquarius, through some work, of course, but I feel like it can be an easier flowing one depending on how you use it. You either take this advantage or you don't. That's what happens with this sextile energy. And we'll get into that too more when we talk about Mercury and Aries. And then you have another energy which involves one of your rulers, Saturn, because you have Saturn, the Sun, and Mercury are all going to be conjunct in Pisces on the 28th of February at 9 degrees. And conjunctions are, in a chart, they're just like a fusion of energies. When the planet is usually within 0 to 3 degrees of an orbit, or excuse me, 0 and 3 degrees, then that's when what forms that conjunction. And this could be one where, especially in Pisces brings about this level of awareness. We're really kind of attuned to how we operate in this realm in a different type of way. I read in this book by Stephen Forrest that I've been really enjoying. He mentions Pisces energy as not like the mind observing the world, but the mind observing the world. This is really kind of almost like how you would almost view you playing like almost like a video game. It's like how you watch the person, you input some codes, and then they go to like a snapshot. It's like, oh, how he's operating in this scenario. It's very similar to that. And I feel that this can be one where it really shows you where we've either limited ourselves, where we need to put in some limitations, but I really feel like that where we limited ourselves is going to be a big one, because like my Pisces is a very imaginative sign. They have such great levels of imagination that I feel this can be one where we can have our head in the clouds. I feel this Pisces energy is going to be has the potential to be very dreamy, very creative, very kind of the energy being very porous between all this stuff, but especially between the sun and how you're communicating and what Saturn grounds. I feel like this is speaking your intentions, like, plugging into your subconscious in a way there, Aquarius, rerouting some things, feeding some positive stuff there, letting your imagination run wild and what you can do. Take the downloads that you get, write this stuff down, ground this stuff with Saturn, and get disciplined. Get down to start putting in whatever that work looks like for you. Because again, Saturn is your traditional ruler. Then you got Uranus, which is your modern ruler, which we'll talk about that. We're going to go ahead and let me just go ahead and make the shifts now. But yeah, that feels right. But yeah, that's what I got for you on that one there, Aquarius. Now let's talk about this big old birthday bash that Pisces is throwing in their sign, because they're really going ham. Because you have the sun that's entering Pisces, you have Mercury that's entering, the lovely Empress is going to be entering into Pisces. That's an exciting one. And then you have your ruler Saturn and Neptune that have been chilling there. And let's talk about Saturn, actually, because Saturn is he entered into Pisces around, I want to say the 7th of March, 2023, and he's going to be there until the 24th of May, 2025, but he's going to be doing some retrograding back between between Aries and Pisces. So there's going to be some of that end degree stuff, but you know, I feel like Saturn is really kind of asking us to use all this Pisces and work with all this Piscean energy really constructively. Because now Saturn is finishing up his last his trek around the zodiac wheel. It just like the sun is, just like Neptune's getting ready to, Mercury's getting ready to. It's a lot of endings that are getting ready to come up here in the next few over the next few months. But also, there's a lot of beginnings as well, because now we're getting ready to start this new zodiacal season here. Over a little over a month now, with this Plutonian energy that's going on there. And all the planets are speaking a different language with this Pluto energy. There's a different combination of things going on here. So I feel Saturn really wants us to see where we've not been protecting ourselves energetically, as far as like how we're interacting with others. Really be aware. Oh, this not even just with people, but noticing how certain people affect your energies, and not just saying that they do this, but what is prompting an action in me. Being very, very just alert, and I just like really doing like some subjective work that's going on here that has that I feel like the potential with Piscean energy, but also with how your environment. Piscean energy is very sensitive to its surroundings. There's this psychic level that's going on here. It's connected to everything in a way. And I feel this is we just want to be more mindful of that, how we're interacting just with our settings as well. Just not just being on autopilot all the time there, Aquarius. Like letting that genius mind just kind of just fall into the cogs, get into this just routine, this sort of clock in a sense, like kind of veering off the timeline a little bit. But also I do feel like it's Saturn too, kind of, what do you want to get ready to kick off during Aries season? This is the time to start dreaming. Work in, does that make sense? Is that something I can do? How do I need to break this thing down in a way, So I feel like can be a very constructive use of this kind of Piscean energy, especially with Saturn and Neptune being the ruling force of all of this. She's the modern ruler of Pisces. She's the strongest in this energy. So this is a time to, and let's talk about that, because Neptune's been in Pisces from 2011 in April and she'll be in there until 2025. I want to say March 30th. Yeah, a little bit before Saturn moves into Aries. And they're getting close to getting into a conjunction too, getting ready to start on this new page here. But with Neptune having been in Pisces over these, almost 14 years now, this has really allowed us to become more aware of the fact that we are these spiritual beings going through this human experience, at least on some form of level. There's been a shift in consciousness, because Pisces is that collective consciousness. It's fascinating. Pisces has, the very strong empathy and compassion, can literally imagine themselves in someone else's shoes and go through and feel what they're going through. So this is a time I feel, with Neptune getting ready to wrap up because she takes a long time. She's just, after Pluto, she's the next slowest moving planet. And again, when you have the outer planets move, especially now, you have Pluto, really going to be settling in here this year soon in Aquarius, and then you'll have Saturn and Neptune doing the same thing that Pluto did, where they're teetering between signs, doing that back and forth. It's like the energy's wanting to shift, but there's some last minute things that we want to get wrapped up. It's like there's going to be that tug of war again that's going to be kind of happening as we go through these shifts. So I feel like where she has invited us to connect to the divine, she is the planet of illusions as well. And I also feel there's been this veil that's been lifted there. At least that's like she's slowly kind of pulling the blanket off the bed. That it's like, hey, we're going to have to wake up from this dream soon. We're going to have to get moving. We're going to have to take this imagination, this awareness, and put it into new action. So then, is there anything else I want to say with that one? And just well, just coming from, I feel like your season where there may have been this kind of focus on self individuality, how we're showing up in the world. I do feel like that Neptune does always remind us, especially being in Pisces, just to, again, not to forget that we all come from the same source. We all are individual expressions of this source, but how you treat others is a reflection of what's going on within. So that's something to just feel like to kind of ponder there, Aquarius. But then you have the sun that's going to be in Pisces, and he'll be entering on the 18th of February, and that'll be at about 11:13 p.m. Eastern time. And then he'll be there through the 19th of March. And like I was saying, Aquarius, we're getting at the end of end of this astrological year. Pisces is an energy of introspection. They really benefit from that time alone. They're doing some meditations, getting into that creative space, but seeing where we could be more compassionate with ourselves, especially I feel like with Saturn being here, like, yeah, we may have set the goals, the bar real high, or maybe we didn't set it high enough, or maybe not at all. But I do feel like it is this energy of, again, meeting yourself and others where you're at on your journey, and having that forgiveness, and having that compassion to be able to let some of that stuff go. What is it that we've been maybe clinging on to over this year since last March, and just how can we just let that become lessons in order for us to how we're going to show up for this next astrological cycle that's getting ready to go on. And I feel like this Pisces season can be a real one because, of course, intuition is heightened as well. But I feel that this can be one where we're just really kind of finding ourselves in this cosmic ocean. This is, I really feel like, a big invitation for that. And just be mindful with this energy. Pisces does have their shadow side is that there could be that potential for escapism, getting lost in the dream, getting lost in the imagination, and whatever that may look like. However, we may check out from being present there, Aquarius. And it can be a number of things. It could be substances, it can be food, it can be media, it can be people, whatever that's looking like for you. So I feel like this gives us a chance to kind of even look at and actually that's a nice little transition talking about, let's talk about how we're thinking. Because you have Mercury that's going to be entering on the 23rd of February, and that'll be at about 2:29 a.m. And they'll be there through the 9th of March. Now, this is a time where I like when Mercury's in like water energy, especially like Pisces and Cancer, because this gives us this combination of, because Mercury is, yes, it's about thinking, communication, but it's like how we perceive the environments around us, all the stimuli around us, before it even becomes words and things. It's just like what from the sounds you're hearing, from the things you're seeing, from the stuff you're smelling. It's a little bit into Taurus, but it's a different level of awareness. It's the thought of those things happening, in a sense, if that makes sense. And this, I feel, you take that logical mind, that one that dissects and just absorbs information, and you add that intuitive flavor and that awareness that Pisces brings. One, I feel if we're not mindful, it could potentially be overwhelming. But so I do feel like it's, again, finding how to work with yourself energetically, taking some breaks. When you get a lot of downloads, or when you're feeling overly stimulated some way, how do we get back to grounded again? Do we need to connect with the earth? Do we need to move the body? Do we need to just drink some water? Like whatever that's looking like, move, whatever. But I feel this could be a great energy to observe any sort of unconscious patterns that we may not have been aware of up until this point, until we get into this energy. Because again, Neptune has been the running force of this over these last little over a decade now. She's been fueling the strength of this observation. So You know, I just feel that this can be one where we can connect with the body in a whole different type of way, interacts just very intuitively and very just like it's that I feel like that perfect combination of like this King of Swords, King of Cups energy kind of come together, or coming together. And then you have the lovely Empress Venus that's going to be entering into Pisces on the 11th of March, and that'll be at about 5:50 p.m. there, Aquarius, and we'll be there through the 5th of April. Now, this is particularly lovely because after the sign she rules over, Taurus and Libra, she is exalted in Pisces. So she's very strong in this Piscean energy. And I feel like that's really nice too, because I feel like this is a very loving placement for the Empress to be, because now she feels on a whole other level. She's aware of what other people are feeling. There's this different level of nuances, this certain presence that I feel like is really kind of really just inviting us there, Aquarius. And this can be one, I'm just thinking about how Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. And so I feel like this is like we can take our relationships and take it to that next octave, you know, take it to this really beautiful place and really be in a place of forgiveness and understanding and just vulnerability, and not in a way that I feel like is where it feels like it's compromising in some way. You just feel safe in it's very lovely what I'm picturing with this Venus in Pisces. But one kind of aspect to be mindful of with all this beauty is that the tendency to overgive that can happen with, because Pisces is on the service axis along with Virgo, and they may be giving too much of themselves because they can relate, because they can put their other in the themselves in the other's shoes. So I do feel like that is something to be mindful of, but also to just, I'm just thinking about the receptivity, because the Empress Venus deals with the senses, and I feel like this is a time to really kind of explore these sort of like sensorial things, like you can imagine, creating, just feel like you're messing with maybe different ingredients, or this could be exploring different just modes of creativity, whether this be through art, this is through dance, this is through maybe even just how we're communicating with one another. Just again, like could be this extra level of thoughtfulness or something along those lines, Aquarius. So just something to think about. But let's get into your first card here, which I love it because we were just talking about Mercury here, which is the mindfulness card. And I mentioned this first card here because it's the number one is the Magician energy in the tarot. And this is a card of peaceful presence and quiet mind. So, Aquarius, this can be one for you because, again, your ruler is in this, Saturn is in this Pisces energy for at least another year and a half. So, and again, he's going to be retrograding. So I feel this is a time for you to really just get this level of mindfulness. Be present with what are your needs being met each day. Where we may be compromising. Allow yourself some quiet time to quiet that mind in a sense, and do something that just gets you in that sort of imaginative space where something that I just feel like kind of gets you into flow, where you need to. It's not an escapist thing. It's this, like, whatever you have for, like, a hobby there, Aquarius. It's just something you just can do that you stimulates just a different side of the mind, exploring just a different side of yourself in this. And but let me get some tarot on this, Aquarius, and get some details with this. Because if you haven't, oh, no kidding. I love that, Aquarius. So, there's Mercury. So I feel like even in that, Aquarius, when I was talking about that Empress kind of being overloaded, when I was talking about that Empress kind of being overloaded, I feel that, we're in such a society that, thank you guys, that is, I was just talking with someone about this, where I feel that we're just hyper, just everything is hyper, but we're very overly stimulated. And I feel like that's messing with the sensitivity of how we're meant to go about this journey. So I feel there's this energy of needing to just kind of unplug there. Let me see what your cards are doing here, Aquarius. Ooh, and there's your ruler. Well, one of your rulers, Uranus here. So you have the Fool, the Magician, the Six of Swords, the Three of Swords, the Two of Cups, and then the Ace of Wands here, Aquarius. And let's talk about Mercury. Because I feel the Magician is... I'm looking at this infinity sign here, and I feel like this is the Magician analyzing their flow. How have you been? I almost feel like it's just like how you've even been kind of operating in the different elemental spheres. How are you doing emotionally? Thinking with the cups there. How has your energy been moving with the wands? What are some things that you have been thinking about or stuff? When was the last time that we've been manifesting, where we've forgotten that we have something to show for? Because I feel this Ace of Wands here with the Fool card. There's this... That's interesting. It's like this exploration for peace, but in like finding this present moment. But I feel this is you just kind of jumping into life a little bit, to kind of go and enjoy some things. Maybe go on a hike, or maybe go to a park, or maybe go for something, some sort of emotion. I feel like it's happening, because even the Magician can be... The Mercury can be about like short travel and kind of like our immediate environment, and I just feel maybe for some we're just needing a change. Maybe there's been this, maybe we've had some heartache that we've been needing to work out here with the Three of Swords being up here. Maybe there's been some depressing energies here. Maybe we had something with like either like Two of Cups. This could be either like a relationship that we may have been had to walk away from. Maybe we've been pondering to walk away from, and that's even something too. Someone had brought this up in a podcast I was listening to, and I thought it was a fascinating thought, that sometimes even when we have like dissonance in relationships, it may not actually, and it's not to say that there's may not be something that needs to be worked on in the relationship, but that there are times where we're feeling this, we're not feeling fulfilled, and we're projecting that anger towards ourselves onto other people. So that could even be where we may need to be, there's some sort of examination that's maybe needing to happen there as well, Aquarius. But this could even be some too where we might be making some hard decisions, as far as like maybe there are some relationships that we're going to part from, in a sense. And in that, Aquarius, I do feel with this Two of Cups and the Six of Swords, in that making space, there is opportunities for new, but there is going to be a hurt that's going to come through there while we're going through this. But I feel like if it's been something that has been maybe disturbing this piece, maybe it's been in a vibration that hasn't flown, or hasn't, been in the flow for a while, we need to kind of quiet our mind, kind of go into this hermit energy, and kind of just sit with what are your next steps. So, and I'm just getting one last thing with the Fool, just making sure that we're not rushing into something, really kind of, and not to say that, again, if there's something feels like you need to do, then absolutely, you got to do what you got to do. But I do feel like there is this, again, being mindful before we leap, in a sense. So for whoever that may resonate for. But all right, Aquarius, let's get on to these next couple of energies here, because these ones, all of these are going to have some sort of interaction with your Aquarius placements, because you have Taurus here, and Big Papa, Jupiter's there, and your other ruler, Uranus, is chilling in Taurus. Let's talk about Uranus, Because Uranus has been in Taurus since since 2018. I want to say of May, and he'll be there through the 7th of July 2025. Why I remember that date because it's like a day before my birthday. It's very close to my moon placement, but. And he's going to do some retrograding between Taurus and Gemini. And that might be interesting for some if you have any sort of early or late degrees of Aquarius. Or not early. Well, yeah, early. But Uranus in Taurus has been a very tricky one for, I feel like, the soul tribe, because it is a very... Taurus is about finding this mindfulness, this state of peace, this where everything is serene, everything is calm, everything is stable, it's got a flow, it's predictable, it's safe, you know? And this has been where Uranus has been really kind of shaking things up, I feel like, a little bit, because it's been questioning a lot of like where we've been putting our sense of value at. You know, whether this be maybe we're putting ourselves into a job that wasn't quite working, and you know, you saw a lot of people when we had the transition with COVID and everything that was going on. There was a lot of energy that was going on in there, a lot of earth energy, but this has changed as far as like how people would go to their security that they put in like their jobs, because a lot of people may have. I remember working in like the restaurants, and a lot of people didn't come back. You know, it was like, oh, like this could be gone literally tomorrow. It was like a big wake up call for like a lot of people, and so it was one of those things. You know, more deaf. Sometimes you need that shock to the system in order to to get into a state of innovation. Like, okay, this isn't doing it for me. What will I, now that the unthinkable has happened, what do I do? This is unprecedented for me. How do I operate going forward from this? That's what Uranus wants us to ask. He's not just doing this just to shake things up just for that sake. It's to show us where we may have put a little too much stock in something that really wasn't sticking to our sense of freedom. We were surrendering a part of ourselves in a sense. And it's like we may have even attached to something that... And that's what I feel like it's... When people talk about Aquarius being detached, I feel like Aquarius energy has... At its highest expression has a healthy level of attachment. They don't need to be active in what they're doing, but that doesn't stop them from creating something, participating in the group, but not necessarily going with that, or letting that define them in a sense. There's just this... It's a very interesting way how your energy operates, and that's what I feel like Uranus is trying to get us to do, really kind of ask ourselves on this deeper thing, is it this, because on a lower expression, Taurus can be this hedonistic kind of energy, this wanting of everything, all of the feel-good things, investing in all of this stuff that's sort of like instant kind of gratification that we've gotten used to. And Taurus is a reminder that things take work. Like I kind of picture them as like gardeners. Like you can't yell at the crops and expect them to grow. They're going to grow at their own pace, and they may go slower because you're throwing all that negative energy at them. But this does feel that like it's like a change of just like where you want to, of just like who you are, and like what is your self-worth. I feel like that is what kind of the Fool is like, with Uranus kind of being in Taurus here, and he's getting ready to wrap up over this next year, but over the next couple years. But then you have Big Papa Jupiter that's getting ready to move into, or that's still in Taurus until towards the end of May, the 25th of May. And I feel like with us having this few more months of Jupiter in Taurus, this can be one where we just kind of take stock and see again kind of what we've invested in, where we may have overindulged in a sense, things that we put this stock into that like now, like, hey, maybe where we would overspend, or maybe where we would maybe just how we've just, again, maybe this could be investing as far as like even in our educations, how we've improved our self-worth, of how we've, just how we've grown. And if you haven't, and just sort of like what you've invested in, seeing what has yielded so far. It's like a very kind of Seven of Pentacles type of energy, where we're just seeing how the garden has grown. What are some things we need to tweak? Do we need to go talk to the neighbors? However this metaphor may be translating, but I just feel too with this for you, Aquarius, there may be this challenge here, just because when you think about Taurus and Aquarius, that energy would be forming squares with your sign, which are tension. There's this, I almost feel maybe for some, there's this need for community, like, and that's interesting. I'm just picturing maybe for some, we're afraid of maybe this could be asking for help, possibly. Maybe this could be like friends or family in a sense. Maybe we've been trying to do everything ourselves, be the lone wolf, and that maybe we need that. That could be one way this might be manifesting for you. Or this could be where we're thinking about, okay, what am I? What do I consider my value? What's my Ten of Pentacles, my legacy that I want to leave behind? Have I been building towards my truth? Or have I, again, just been maybe sort of checked out, maybe just invested in things that people told me was secure, told me was safe, going for the house, the corporate job, the kids, the 2.5, well, maybe not 2.5 dogs, but you know what I mean. But then it comes to turn out that that's not really what's calling for you, and now we have to analyze all this stuff that we have to build up, and maybe there's some things we need to let go. Maybe there are some relationships that are, and this is not something where I'm saying your relationships are going to fall apart, Aquarius. This would have been something that I feel you would have been thinking about for a minute, maybe just kind of on and off there, or maybe you're noticing something in a partner that has shifted, and this could invite a conversation. What are we going to build from here? What are some things we need to take some time to grow apart in order to come back strong, whatever that may look like for you. So yeah, very interesting, maybe potentially tough questions that this Taurus and these kind of squares with Taurus energy is asking you, but in that conflict, that gives you a chance to be creative, gets you to be innovative and come up with some new ways to get out of this there, Aquarius. Ask yourself, what does actually feel good for you? Is this really what resonates with you? Thank you, guys. But absolutely. So you got the 8th card here, which is Leo energy, the strength card, but you have the teacher here, Aquarius, and this is a card of learning and a new path. And that's exactly what's happening here. In this chaos, in this shifts and things, that's what Uranus is doing, creating new paths for us, giving us a learning experience and asking us to have the strength and the bravery, talk about that strength card energy, to face these fears, to face uncertainty, to ask, does this stuff really make me feel good, or is this something, again, that just like, it's just like, in the short term, it's great, but like, this is like, Taurus is not just about that, again, those sort of short bursts of peace. They want something for the long term. So that's where I feel like this is thinking more kind of Ten of Pentacles, thinking like long distance. How can I invest myself this way? Maybe I'm not feeling comfortable in your body. Maybe this is like, maybe I need to take more time to decompress my mind, take some time away from the screen, or maybe I need to move the body more. Maybe I want to learn a bit more about myself, express myself, and find a teacher, a mentor, possibly go back to maybe do some sort of schooling, if that's something that's resonating with you. Take some sort of courses. But that's all that these challenging energies do, like tensions, in every aspect, it has an opportunity for something great to happen. I had a trine that happened that was going on with Pluto. The very first exact that it happened, it didn't pan out any. It was like an ambush, if I had to put it in one word. And maybe, no, let's just go ambush. And then the second time it happened, it was a bit easier, but that's because I went with the flow. The first time there was something I was resisting and I didn't have eyes on it, and Pluto definitely brought it to my attention. So even the easier moving ones like the trines or the sextiles could be, they can have their double edge too. Just like with the squares, their flip side is that, yeah, there's this tension, but pressure always creates diamonds. New paths come through. This pushes you to think outside the box, pushes you, put your back up against the wall. What are you going to do? Go through the wall? Do we need to run through the fire? You know, like, what is that looking like? You know, to call for help? What is that? I feel like it just like, and we learn from this, you know, like something's growing here, Aquarius. I feel like you coming into, but let me get some tarot on this and get some details. Learning to work with these tools that you got, that these, because one thing too I wanted to mention with this, Aquarius, thank you guys, it's just especially how we treat the environment as well, because Taurus is one that is associated with with Mother Earth, and I do feel like this can be even just getting out of this energy. And it's not like that you have to become a minimalist and, you know, that you have to sell all your stuff. But it's more so just, again, awareness of how we've gotten into this energy of just pure consumption and gotten it to where we're not contributing anything back. And this is something I feel we can all think about this. You know, we don't have to be hyper about it, but I do feel like taking these small actions collectively, showing up your individual way, whether you're maybe doing some recycling, maybe you're doing a cleanup. There was a guy that I remember would go running where my folks live, and he would take a bag and he'd have his little trash picker, and he on his run he's just picking up all the trash, and it's just like, that's dope. So just what are some ways that we can kind of show up for the environment as well? I don't feel like there's any one way to do it, but it's just like making more of a conscious effort for that, Aquarius' home that we're staying on here. But let's see what's going on here, Aquarius. Oh, there's Big Papa. Oh, you're getting a lot of majors here, Aquarius. I'm with it. Okay, so you have the... So you have the Eight of Wands, the Seven of Swords, the Lovers, the Justice card, and the Lovers is Gemini energy, Justice card, Libra energy, and the Wheel of Fortune, which is Jupiter. And I love that. Now we got Jupiter and Taurus here, and these are the planets that are forming these things with these squares with your signs. And I really feel like, yes, Uranus, I feel like, is teaching you how to set you free to kind of think on your own, to think under pressure. I feel that's where Uranus is kind of challenging you, challenging you in Taurus, Aquarius. But I feel with the Wheel of Fortune here, this is giving you an opportunity to shift the winds in a different direction there. Notice where we may have been stuck, where we've made some decisions that haven't been something that resonated with us. Again, maybe this was an idea that we took on and we just kind of ran with it, but now we're noticing. I love how this owl is just kind of turning its head upside down. It almost feels like that we're looking at things from a different perspective. The things that once brought you peace or maybe brought you this harmony has shifted, and we're just paying attention to that cause and effect, you know. And for some, I feel that there is this energy just now with us. Oh, hold on, let me light my other candle here, Aquarius. But I do feel that there is this shift too, that maybe for some you're feeling this, that maybe that time is moving a little, because you in Capricorn being ruled by Saturn, who's the planet of time, you know. But I feel like Saturn is that sort of slow thinking of time, because time is relative, I feel like, to him. But with being your Uranus being your other sign, I feel there's this tug of war that's kind of maybe happening, where it's like you're thinking about just time is a factor, because your Uranus is looking towards the future, your sign is looking towards the future, and I feel there's this like maybe heightened awareness of this time possibly there, Aquarius. And I feel that that's not meant to stress you out, and I feel like that this is taking a moment, and maybe for some just kind of slowing down a little bit, because I feel like we're maybe just trying to it just, I'm getting this just like doing too much at once, and it's like, instead of, it's like we're trying to tackle all these sticks and do all the things and do like all the stuff, but we're not doing any of it well. All we're just doing is spreading ourselves thin and getting these small moments of experiences, whether this be, and this, I feel like this Eight of Wands is just kind of looking where you may have spread yourself thin a little bit, maybe where your attention has been going. Has it been a little focused on, has all your energy been going all towards something here, or hyper focused, or has it been split? That's very interesting there, Aquarius. But even with this, with the Seven of Wands here, I feel there's a need to maybe, for someone to maybe even kind of slow the energies down a little bit, because you see this owl that's trying to take off with these four swords here, but there's these three that they're leaving behind. And I feel like that there's some nuggets that we may be leaving behind before we can get to this next chapter here, to do this full energy, to jump with this here. There's something like maybe a choice that we need to reflect on, something we're needing to, something just is not quite balancing out, I feel, with the Justice card here. I was just like, the universe is just, it's like, okay, I'm ready for growth now. The universe is just like, okay, and okay, I see you did like 90% of this test, but it's almost like even like maybe Saturn energy a little bit. It's like, but there's like, I'm getting a teacher, like a disciplinary, just like, hey, yeah, you've done 90% of this test, but like, or you got this much done, what about the other half? But what about this whole, or you got the front side here, but you have this whole back side of this assignment, right? And you finished it in like 5 minutes. Have you ever done that, Aquarius? So that's what I'm kind of feeling like this energy is coming through there. And yeah, this life kind of being a teacher for you, but I'm with it, Aquarius. Now let's talk about your energy, because again, this is a big one for you. You have all the personal planets had been, depending on when you're watching this, Mercury had just passed through, did their conjunction with Pluto. The Sun's done their conjunction. Now we have Mars and Venus that are getting ready to do theirs soon. And so, the personal planets, they affect us more visibly than the outer ones. And I feel like this is just sort of like a taster right now, just like as far as like what's been going on, like how we're thinking a bit more innovatively, because you have your ruler, or not your ruler, Mars, that's going to be, wouldn't that be something? You have Mars that's going to be entering Aquarius, and then you have Pluto. Yeah, how could we forget Pluto? That's going to be in Aquarius. He's going to retrograde one more time back into Capricorn. I want to say around September, October, somewhere between Virgo and Libra season. And then that'll be the last time that he'll be in Capricorn. And then he'll just be settled in your energy there, Aquarius. And let's talk about Pluto. Because Pluto's going to be in your sign till 2043. And he'll probably do some retrograde shenanigans, I would imagine, probably before getting into Pisces. But you're going to be, your energy is going to be the theme for a while. This is going to be one where we are thinking about how we show up in the collective. Aquarius is that conundrum, because you want to be there for the collective, but you don't want to lose yourself. You want to be there for the collective. It's you living your authentic self and being in this and like perfecting that, no matter what other people think about what you're doing, because it's in that difference that sparks innovation. And I feel like we've just gotten into a place where it's so extreme. And now we can try to start balancing that out again, because I'm not saying we get into, because I was listening to someone actually today, and they were talking about the difference between, we talk about war and peace and things, because this energy can bring about revolutionary type energy there, Aquarius. And she was talking about peace. She said her sun sign's in Libra. And she was saying how when you think of peace, there's this automatic passivity that comes with it. You know, you picture people training themselves to, and not even training themselves to trees anymore. I mean, they're just like getting in deep meditation and doing some things like collectively. And it's like, yeah, we can do that stuff, but it's more so being a bit more active with it. You know, there's a big kind of taking for the people to be the authority in a sense, and not that we're just like dismantling. You stay with me, Aquarius. I just, you know, we're not just going out there, you know what I mean? But I do feel like that this is taking some of our power back and taking, just realizing where we've relinquished a lot of our freedom. And I do feel that this Pluto and Aquarius energy is going to bring out something in you. If you have your sun sign in Aquarius, this is going to ask you who you are. You know, this could be essentially, you know, if we haven't asked ourselves these questions, it could be rather intense what goes on there. Pluto doesn't play around. You know, if this is your, you know, if you have Mercury, the way that you're thinking, you know, if this is your Venus, your how you go about relationships, you know, there's just all these types of ways as you're rising, who you are, how you present yourself. If you're an Aquarius rising, this is going through, Pluto will be traveling depending on where we're at, between your first, or excuse me, between your 12th and your first house. And there's either some subconscious things that are coming up there, or there's some image things that are coming up. Who am I? How do I present myself? How am I showing up for in the world, you know? So, yeah, Pluto's going to be asking you your Aquarius placements. And there's a generation, we all have Saturn in Aquarius. And so, even generationally, I want to say it's those in like 70s. It's either like early or late or early or mid 70s, and Saturn stays in the sign for about 3 years, and around the 80s, probably 90s, I want to say was when, probably like early 90s was when Saturn was in Aquarius again. Yeah, it would have been it had been something like that, but you know, there's a lot of changes that are going to be happening for those Aquarius placements, and wherever you have Aquarius in by your house placement, that's going to be significant as well. Their mind's actually going through. Pluto's in my sixth house, right? I have Aquarius on the sixth house, seventh house, seventh house cusp, and then there's a little bit into the sixth house, but Pluto's going through my sixth house right now, so it's like I'm analyzing my day to day, looking how I go about my routines, looking at how I'm taking care of my health. What are some things that are coming up for me in that? Jobs, you know, just all of the stuff. But it's going to be an interesting time for your Aquarius, and I feel like this is going to be potentially, depending on how you handle this, how you go. If you go with the flow, ask yourself these questions: who I am, live your authentic truth. The flow will be, again, not without some difficulties, but it'll be smoother than it when we resist the energy there, Aquarius. And then you have Mars that's going to be entering into your sign on the 12th of, actually tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this, going to be entering tomorrow into Aquarius at about, what time? At about 1:05 a.m. These are all Eastern time, if I didn't mention that, Aquarius. And so I feel with Mars in Aquarius, this can be, again, can go one of two ways. This can either, because I feel there's going to be a frustration if we haven't been, either with where things have been going, as far as like, where do I channel my energy, where do I go next, how do I, because shortly after Mars enters into Aquarius, he is going to be forming that conjunction with Pluto, and Pluto's the higher octave of Mars, and I feel this is one where we want to rise to that higher octave and just face these, hold ourselves accountable, but not in a way that I feel like is defeating. You know, it's in a way of like where we're learning. You know, we were allowed to make mistakes and did not know everything as far as like where this journey is going. So, but I feel this can be one where we can take actions towards, and take inspired actions towards getting this sense of autonomy back, and then showing up in society in a new type of way. That's where I feel like I'm feeling that it could be where we're just, again, more aware of just even though we can feel so small in this universe, how every point has a meaning. You know, every droplet considers it becomes a part of the ocean. You know, it may operate as a whole ocean, but that was, you know where I'm getting at, Aquarius. We're getting kind of big here, but I do feel that this can be one where, again, but there could be that chance where we may feel a little frustrated, where we may feel a little upset. And I feel like allowing yourself that space to feel upset. You know, get in a safe space and just feel that. Be with that. Understand that. Because your ruler is in a place where you need to be aware of any sort of sensitivities that we don't have eyes on, you know, and do that introspective work. How do we react to certain things? So but it can be also too, and this is just if this resonates with you, Aquarius, you know, this could be an energy too where we are taking more actions to contribute to our community, and however that looks like. Maybe we're doing a cleanup, maybe we're volunteering at a soup kitchen, maybe we're donating some things, maybe we're, whatever this may look like for you, Aquarius. But let's get an oracle on this. Love, how appropriate. I love it. Thank you, guys. So you got the fourth card here, which is Emperor energy, freedom on your sign there, Aquarius. So that ain't auspicious. I don't know what is. And this is a card of moving on and letting go. You got that Six of Swords there, Aquarius. And this could be Mars maybe fueling some action for some people to let some things go. And maybe there's some relationships that we're parting from. And I just don't mean romantic ones. I mean maybe for some where we put a lot of stock into that wasn't supporting our growth. Or this could be maybe a certain environment, you know, maybe this is a substance, maybe this is inactivity, maybe this is too much activity where we may need to freedom maybe in not doing anything, taking some rest, you know, allowing yourself to recharge your batteries. But I do feel like with all this, because we're about to be, before we get into Pisces season, you know, like we won't be in really heavy Piscean energy till a little bit later into their season. We're about to be, because I mean, when I'm recording this right now, the moon just moved into, well, she's a little comfortable into Pisces right now, but we just had that new moon that wasn't too long ago, sun, moon in Aquarius, Mercury in Pluto, and then we're going to have, for a little bit, before the sun moves, we'll have the sun, Pluto, Mars, and Venus in Aquarius. So, I mean, we're going through a lot of heavy Aquarius energy right now, and this is really questioning where we've surrendered our freedom, where we can release ourselves, where we can grow, what we need to move on from. Because, you know, I was reading something about your energy, and it was very interesting. Like, I really like the perspective that you and Capricorn kind of have almost this, it's not where you'll be alone, but it is this like solo journey in a sense. There is this thing where you have to respect. I feel like especially for like Aquarius and maybe like Sagittarius, there's this, maybe even, possibly even Gemini too, but where freedom is everything. But I feel like for your sign in particular, you know, like that's, freedom is everything. And I feel like it's, you know, maybe there's this, But then let me get some tarot on this. Alright, Aquarius. Thank you, guys. Well, I love that outcome though. Let's see what's going on. So you have the Five of Pentacles, the Seven of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, the Page of Swords, the Ten of Wands, and then the lovely sun there, Aquarius. And who do I start? You know, I feel this Page of Swords here. I feel this is an invitation for you to learn about yourself. Again, go through this. I feel that you, because I'll tell you what, when I'm recording this, the moon is, like I was saying, the moon is in Pisces. And it is different. I feel like when you take that time, I mean, my sun is in Cancer, so I mean, subjectivity is my bread and butter. But I do feel that this, if you begin to learn about yourself, go within, learn some things that we may have felt like where we've kind of caged ourselves energetically. I feel with this Page of Wands, Page of Swords, it's like this really gives me Mars and Aquarius. This Page of Wands, Page of Swords energy. It's, I feel like thinking about what we've been, how we've been going through life, where we may have been trying to fit ourselves into a box, where we've been feeling overburdened, where we've been feeling heavy, you know, where we feel in. I feel that this with this energy here, this is gonna push you to try to be able to tap into your own resources. Not that you won't have the support of others, but I do feel like this is gonna be you kind of asking yourself with this Five of Pentacles, where have I been maybe falling short? Where have I been maybe sacrificing, sacrificing maybe a lot of myself possibly here, because you know, I'm just, that's interesting because like between the Five of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles, which is Six of Pentacles, but there's that reciprocity, and I feel like that's missing. You know, we've been giving so much of ourselves that we're just like, something isn't feeling impoverished. Maybe we haven't been catering to a dream. Maybe we've been kind of sitting in this sort of, and if this is something with a relationship, again, I don't feel like you necessarily need it, because I feel like that's not true when they say that Aquarians can't be in relationships. I feel like that, or they're so emotionally detached they don't. I do feel like that this energy has been an invitation to can have a different conversation, considers other people's perspectives, and it's just like these are my, and you know, as within reason. And it's just like, because like for example, so my partner is been diagnosed with ADHD, and it's a different way. And I was listening to a podcast not too long ago about it, and I found it really fascinating what they were talking about. And so I went to purchase a book on it. I'm going to get around to reading that, because it was either I could not, it's like if this is something that I'm going to be with and I'm going to take on, I need to understand this a little bit more, so then I have the language to express my needs in it, and that there's not this miscommunication. And that's why I feel for relationships, this could be something where we can kind of start fresh, you know, have a new, like how we're going to move independently, but also what does that mean for us collectively, you know, like it's a very mindful type of conversation here, and kind of shining some light on some things. Maybe we've been keeping some stuff pent up pent up inside of us. And I feel like if you were to, because I'll tell you what, Aquarius, I was actually talking with someone, it's like, I get your energy, you know, but to see how it manifests, it's fascinating. It's a sun, moon, rising, Venus, like it's fascinating. And it's all over the place, you know, but that's because it's unique. You know, it's not one. Aquarius, I feel like it's not one. You're celebrated because you can't be put in a box. And I feel like that's where you really shine. And I feel like as long as that's respected, you know, where you don't feel, because maybe it's not, some people may not even know where they maybe feel like you're being put in a cage. And it's just learning this different sense of communication could even be what's going on here, Aquarius. So, because the communication is a powerful thing, you know, and understanding how others perceive, you know, one another. And yeah, a lot of freedom in that. And I'm with that. Now let's talk about this last energy here, which is Mercury, because Mercury is going to be entering into Aries on the 9th of March and will be there through the 15th of May. And why this extended stay? Because Mercury is going to be going retrograde there, Aquarius, but it won't be it'll be in a little bit. It will be on like the 1st of April, so we'll talk about that then. But with Mercury being in Aries, what I've been really kind of feeling with this is that we take that awareness that comes through in Pisces, what we've been dreaming up, what we've been, and now I feel the first thing that's kind of coming out of the clouds is just like where our minds are at, how we perceive the world becomes a bit differently when Mercury is waking up in Aries, starting this new cycle off. Just like, I just feel like this could be an energy of just like brain blast, where you're just like, ooh, that's a great idea. Ooh, 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 very Page of Swords type of stuff there. Like now, It's almost, I'm picturing like popcorn, where it's like out now all that stuff with that haziness with Mercury in Pisces is starting to make more sense, and now we're understanding how we can work with this all this Piscean energy a little bit more. There, really make whatever this is shine bright in a sense. You know, realize how we can work with what we're, instead of thinking about what we need, thinking about what we have in order to get this thing. You know, when I started this channel, I started off on this little slim little table. It was very impractical. I had these big cards, so just nothing. It was, the setup was wild, but I wanted to do it. I got innovative and then now things have been gotten where they are now, and it's been fantastic. And that's where I feel like this Mercury in Aries could be where, you know, things, and I feel like it's going to be an exciting energy. So I feel like, again, not like go with that vivacity, but be careful about just spreading yourself too thin. Get a few things started up. Let's not throw all the stuff at the wall at once, and see what returns, you know, and then kind of follow that a little bit. See where that leads. And then as maybe we can incorporate another thing, just really getting in this cool type of flow, and then we'll be all getting into where the personal planets are getting to this Aries energy. They'll have a different conversation with Pluto, because now they're going to go from being conjunct, and now we're going to a sextile. It'll be this sort of like, okay, easier conversation. I'm kind of familiar with this, how we may be going on. They're still very new, but at least there's like stimuli that are going there. We're starting to at least get the picture for the puzzle. You know, we haven't built the puzzle pieces yet, but let me get your last oracle card here, Aquarius. And Aquarius. Thank you, guys. Last little bit here. There's been a lot of this going around, Aquarius, and I've been digging this. This popped out a few times, so pay attention to your guides, because you have the Ascended Masters card here, which is a card of devoted spirits with specific intentions. You know, and while I was shuffling Aquarius, I wish I would have said something, because I was feeling like, you know, the question that came when I was looking at that freedom is, what does freedom look like for you? Not and I feel like not in the way that you want to free up society. How do you feel like you need to be free? And in that, I feel like that's where you start with you, and then it just naturally works into the collective, you know, and it may feel a little selfish, but I feel that it's where you flourish, and not in being selfish, but being just more self-aware, allowing, maybe that is something, being a little more selfish. Maybe we've been devoting ourselves to others, but now we need to be, maybe when I was talking about that Ace of Wands where we've been hyper-focused, we need to switch that to here, you know, to internally, what's going on there. And asking your guides, I feel like, for these specific type of things, this card gives me being very intentional about where your thoughts are at, how we're reaching out to our guides, the things that we're manifesting, what are some ways we may have kind of caged our stuff there, and then discovering a new path, I feel like, is what's unfolding here. But, you know, if you have these, you know, maybe hang-ups with money, for example, with Five of Pentacles, you know, or this, whatever we're feeling lacking, it's just like, okay, what can I do, guys? Like, what are some ways? You know, I was trying to move one time. I felt really trapped in a space, and I tried to force it, and I put a lot of energy into it, and it didn't work out. And then something else happened. It wasn't quite what I thought I wanted at that time, but it got me to where I wanted to be, or, you know, it was what I needed to get to where I wanted to be, you know. And it's still, and sometimes, you know, it's, again, hindsight's kind of 2020. Would I have played it out like that? Like, probably not. But I see where it was meant to, and why it was meant to happen that way. So that's why I feel like this is you get very mindful of what you want to let go, and speak that to your guides. You know, if we've not really voiced these fears, maybe we've been keeping something bottled up for a while, let that out, you know, and be like, you know, that being okay, like, I need help finding who I am. You know, I need my guides. I'm not sure why I can't seem to hold a relationship, or why this seems to happen. Just that admission. I feel like allowing yourself to be fallible is an energy that I feel like is kind of coming through here, and then allowing your guides to help lift you up, because you are divinely guided there, Aquarius. But let me get your last tarot cards here. See what's going on with this energy. Alright, Aquarius. Thank you, guys. Last little bit here. Alright, so you have the... Oh, what's good, girl? So you have the Five of Wands, the Knight of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, and then the lovely Empress here, Venus. Let's switch back over there, Aquarius. What a lovely ending. So, I feel with this Aquarius, though, the Five of Wands is a card of conflict. And conflict is great. I know how that sounds. But conflict is what pushes us to action. This asks us to be brave. This asks us to... how we face conflict, I feel like, really shows us who we are in the world. Like at that... Not in the world, but like more so at that moment. What... That's interesting. Almost this Knight of Wands is giving me almost this, like, what have we been feeding the ego with, in a sense? Like, has this ego response been built out of fear, or have we been operating with love? I feel like is what's... Because the Knight of Wands is Leo energy for me. And Leo's one that they're associated with the heart. And I feel like it's like in this conflict... this gives you a chance to Queen of Pentacles to really start building some stuff up there. How do we channel this energy constructively instead of letting it Ten of Wands weigh us down? What are some solutions that are coming up for you? Are there some things you can do right now? And then if there's not, then sometimes we just need to take an Empress Day and just rest. Kind of allow yourself to check in with your senses. When I was talking about with Venus, being in, especially I feel like being in Pisces, because Venus rules over the six senses, really. And, this is asking, just checking in with the body, what are we needing, and being that she rules Libra as well, and we got Libra here, where have things gotten out of harmony? How do we deal with this chaos? Because that's what Libra's weighing the scales. So it's like, how do they keep this state of harmony, this state of balance, and this state of everything being so paradoxical? How do you stay sane in all of that? With how these planets move around, with how the people move around, it's a lot. And I feel the Empress is allowing yourself to have this sort of guilt-free day where you give yourself permission to be in a peaceful space, to be quiet, to not have to think about anything, to just sort of be with yourself. Expression, again, I feel is a great way for that, and whatever that looks like for you. That doesn't just have to be in art. Maybe you love talking like I do. This could be where you're just having a nice conversation with someone. Maybe that helps recharge your batteries. Really kind of talk about some mindful things, have these deep discussions, philosophize, whatever that's looking like. But learn another language. Do build, work with whatever that in the garden, but. Moving on up, Aquarius, I feel like with that Teacher card, that Ascendant Masters, and I feel like there's this energy too, though, just about just because someone is an expert at something, an expert, or I feel like a master never stops learning. You know, I feel like that's where the real, that side's like the teachers from the ascended masters in a sense. Like there's still, I feel like there's always this opportunity for growth. So I feel like be mindful of that with the people that we take on as mentors, as, and just see if the resonance is really there, Aquarius, or are they trying to mold you into something? You know, it's great to sharpen and hone, but to take away that divine, you know, I feel like, yeah, hopefully you know what I mean by that, but I think I'm gonna leave that there, Aquarius. But if anything resonated with you, if you like that, Aquarius, give it a thumbs up and share this. If you know someone who's been, yeah, just maybe in the midst of some chaos, or just been maybe struggling finding a new path, or having troubles letting go or something, you know, needing to get in touch with your guides, whatever that's looking like, but maybe having troubles with their faith even, but, and then subscribe there, you son, just bringing bright wheel of fortune, hit that bell button, you get notified on all these videos each, well, they're going to be each week, possibly, like, I think I'm going to start doing some collective videos where I'm just talking about the energies that are going on for the week, some important transits, and what I feel intuitively, and you know what's kind of going on there, how that could affect like the. I'm still getting the format down for what that is kind of looking like, but stay tuned there. Stay tuned for that there, Aquarius. There won't be any kind of rhyme or reason. They're just gonna. I'll get a schedule figured out for them. I'm thinking for sure maybe like Jupiter days, which would be like Thursdays. So yeah, probably at least once a week maybe, and I still do stuff on my other channel there too, but yeah, like that's only going to be a small change just because of these personal readings. Now my schedule is, and I figured this was going to be happening anyway, so I knew there's going to be an adjustment that needed to take place. So, but I love doing this, and Celestial News Monthly is like one of my favorites. So I was like, of course we're doing this, and I still wanted there to be some free content with as much information as I can, can provide. So, but then also yes, check down in the description box below with, if there are certain transits that speak to you, when I'm doing these energies, and if you've been find yourself looking for some guidance, wanting to work with the energies, get into that flow, see, because what I do is not going to be where we're just talking about your sun sign. We're going to get to how these planets are affecting you on a more personal level. What are some things you're thinking about this week? What are some things that can ponder that can go a lot smoother, or where you're noticing maybe there might be some challenges, or really just kind of analyzing, and then we can get into your birth chart, looking at, especially if you have like your date, place, and time of birth. Those three would be fantastic, or as close within an hour. If we're within like an hour, that's fantastic. Otherwise it'll be just a little bit looser with how we can talk about, or how in depth we can go about certain things without really kind of breaking down your story, and that's a whole other thing in itself there, Aquarius. But yeah, definitely check that down for that link down below if you want to book a personal reading with me. I have all that information for you, and I look forward to working with you there, Aquarius. And then last little bit, let's check your sun, moon, rising there. Because if you have any Cancer in your placements, like I just said, sun, moon, rising, come on over to the chariot and friends. I do videos Monday through Friday there. We discuss lunar shenanigans, and I do tarot card spreads based off what sign she's in, what phase she's in, and it's a great old time there, Aquarius. And all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here. So I can get you out of here. You got the Two of Pentacles here. And I like this. This is Jupiter in Capricorn. And I feel that I feel like this is you, getting to that sense of freedom, that, because Wheel of Fortune, Empress, that's very abundant energy that's coming through there. And I feel like this is you getting back into that groove, getting back into the flow. But I feel there are some things that are needing to shift, some things that we're needing to recalibrate, adjust, get back into balance, see where there's this disharmony that's going on there, in order to, and this is something where I bring up that Jupiter in Capricorn, something we may need to be patient with, something where that is going to possibly require just a little tenacity, a little will, a little patience, because Capricorn is the most patient sign of the zodiac. But they share a ruler with you, Saturn, so you get some of that influence there. But I feel that this is one that growth can and will happen there, Aquarius, is how we invest in that. And I still am getting this like very kind of like hierophant energy, like teacher, like maybe for some looking for like a mentor or whatever that's looking like, you know. And maybe for some we need to hear getting a mentor in things doesn't necessarily restrict your individuality or freedom if you don't let it, you know. One thing I've been learning from someone who a book I've been reading is just like, you know, Cancerian energy learn signature is here to learn about. One aspect is impressionability, and so I feel there is a way for you to take what someone learns and then just do. This is where the critical thinking comes in. You know, sometimes you got to get out of their notes and like, what do you actually feel? Think about it. Does it resonate with you? Where do you feel challenged? Why do you feel challenged? You know, and I feel like it is nice though to have challenging perspectives and views, because that keeps this journey fresh, that keeps us innovative. But I feel we just want to be mindful about people forcing their ideals on you, saying their way is the only way, you know, for doing certain types of things. This is I gotta be more mindful. I gotta be more mindful with that. I have a candle over here throwing cards at it. Thank you guys. All right, Aquarius. So you have the redemption card here. And this is judgment card energy that's coming through. And I feel with this redemption that, you know, I feel like it comes on with that letting go. I feel for some, maybe we don't feel that we deserve to move on from something possibly, or we're having troubles letting go because maybe we don't feel like we deserve forgiveness. Or this could be something where maybe we don't feel maybe someone else possibly even deserves forgiveness. How you got the Lovers, Two of Cups there. But I will say with you, Aquarius, if this is something individual, I do feel like what happened in the past happens. And I feel like it's okay to feel regret, but I feel that regret is not something that's meant to carry. If anything, regret is a heightened state of awareness, because you notice that you were acting in a vibration that you really were aware of yourself, and it's just like, ooh, I really wasn't mindful. Like I could have been, or I could have showed up a lot better there, you know? And I feel like instead of letting that define you, let that be something that we grow from. Because I feel that, you know, anyone who says people can't change, I would challenge that. I feel that people can change, but they do have to choose to change. You know, if you would have met me years ago, still same gregariousness, but absent. You know, like it was, I just knew how to, when I needed to, just turn it on. Otherwise, I was off. And like hard off. But people change. People have the capacity to change. And I feel like that flows into nicely where if we're having troubles letting go for others, because you do got the Justice card here, and that could be not necessarily a card of revenge, but maybe hoping that someone gets theirs, or asking where's their atonement for. You know, the universe always balances things out, Aquarius. You know, I wouldn't say like I'd be especially be mindful about getting in sort of like any sort of vengeful mentalities, because what we put out there, the Justice card reminds us that we get back, you know. And I feel like there is this, if we can't mend bridges, you know, just like how can we let that situation go and just be more mindful. You know, I had something where, you know, I could have showed up better for a situation, but takes two to tango. But I'm being aware of, you know, not say the other person isn't, but being in the Cancerian energy that I am, and being, you know, subjective and thinking about how I reacted and things, and I learned a lot from it, and I've been operating from that place, from that, because I don't, you know, why let that define you? You know, let that grow you, let that feel, and then you have receipts for like, yeah, I was here, but now check me out where I'm at, and still climbing, baby. So there's always, I feel like, chance for redemption You know, we just have to allow it. So, I like that, Aquarius. I think I'm going to leave that there. So, you stay safe out there. I think I kept you the longest, which, of course, it's, you know, this was big energy for you. But, yeah, stay safe out there. With all these changes, all this learning about yourself. This is going to be exciting time for you, Aquarius. I feel this can be really dope, and I'm grateful to be going along with you on this journey. And you raise that vibration through the roof. Raise to Jupiter, to Venus, to the Sun. You know, just get out there, Aquarius. You're gonna rock it. And I will catch you on the next one.